Hello, and thank you for your interest in our private placement and new financial exchange. We are convinced the new exchange will soon be a household word and will have tremendous amounts of publicity, particularly in financial publications for the first time centralizing a well-known market. As an investor, there are a few things that are at the top of your list. Yes, you can make more with private placements at $1 a share than just about any other financial instrument. After all, why buy a stock at $150 and hope it goes up a little? Or buy a great company when it's at $1? And if you get the next Amazon or eBay or Stanley Gibbons, you literally walk away with a fortune. It happens all the time for well-connected. Look it up online. You just have to be serious and studious when looking at the offering. Now we see two main points to a private placement, and one is the payout. For example, if you bought private shares in Google, but it was just debt, you might get 15% profit, and then you'd be out. You'd miss all that massive growth. Likewise, if you only got stock, but the company never went public and the shares didn't pay a net revenue, you've basically lost everything unless they made the shares liquid. This is a very important point that so many miss. Don't be blinded by a great idea. Make certain you get a great payout or it's just not worth it. We've set up our payout so it's hard to say no. We don't mind as we wish to fund our exchange fast, and we will have massive cash flow fast. Just look at our plan. We have you covered. We're a hybrid. That is, we give you both debt and equity. You get a sure 119%, so $100,000 in, $119,000 back, but that's just the beginning. This is a generational company. With us, even after you're paid back, you maintain your shares, and yes, they are net revenue shares paying out quarterly. You have to admit you can't beat our payout. So this cannot be overemphasized. It doesn't matter how great the company is. Without a great payout, you can make little or nothing. With our situation, when we make money, you do. And since you're getting 119% back, you can say your shares are then free, and whatever happens after is icing on the cake. So, what will happen with the shares? So what about our company? Is it the next Amazon, Google, or eBay? Is it the next Stanley Gibbons or Yelp? Yes, and more. In England, a company named Stanley Gibbons has been around for generations, and with it you can buy and sell investment-grade UK stamps like you would a stock. Its index has over the last 30 years outperformed the S&P 500, the Dow, gold, just about every investment vehicle except good private placements, of course. So let's ask two questions about this company. Does it have longevity? You bet. It's been around for generations. Second, what's the payout? The payout is comparable to eBay, Amazon, the rest. A $100,000 investment in Stanley Gibbons at $1 a share would yield an astounding $38 million. $10,000 investment would pay out $3.8 million. That's great, you say, but what does that have to do with us, you ask? Well, we're going to be the U.S. version of Stanley Gibbons. If they're a piece of Britannia, we're going to be a piece of Americana. And we are to some degree imitating them, except we'll be about double their size, have two indexes, and we'll have electronic minute-by-minute pricing. So finally in the U.S., investors of all stripes can buy and sell investment-grade stamps as if it were a stock. And we'll have the market all to ourselves. So stop and think about that. It's absolutely remarkable. We have the entire market to ourselves. See, at present, there are stamp stores, online selling, prices everywhere, and severely undervalued. It's unorganized. Mr. Michael Hatton, who has experience in investment banking and stamp sales, thought, why can't we just combine the two? That is when he discovered Stanley Gibbons, and he said, my world was changed. In England, someone had the vision to combine the two, and they're extremely successful. And at that moment, I knew we had a billion-dollar business, and I could bring to life an investment vehicle I love, one that is not getting its due at present. In the U.S., the average person thinks nothing of stamps. In England, they see them as an investment vehicle that has outperformed all indexes worldwide. They took the initiative. No one until now in the U.S. has, and no, don't worry, they aren't going to trade U.S. stamps. They recently took most of their cash and tried to create some eBay-style company, and it failed. The index is great, still humming, but they made a stupid move. We're stamps and stamps alone, and soon will be a household word. As an investor, you need to look at viability. And there are many great ideas out there, but is there something you can compare the company with to get a measure of how well it will do. For example, if there were an Amazon UK, but only in the UK, extremely profitable, share price through the roof, and we were going to create Amazon US, well, we'd have no doubt as to success. Investors always say, I wish I had a time machine. Microsoft or some other company started as private placement, and now that we know what it did, I'd go back and I'd put everything I have into it. Well, guess what, folks? You do have a time machine of sorts. Yes, you missed Stanley Gibbons. You could have put $100,000 in it and got out $38 million, but it truly is as if you have a second chance. For we are in essence the same thing, only about double the size with more bells and whistles. So if you missed this, don't say you'd like to go back in time. This is the closest thing to a time machine in investing that you'll find. We're going to wait until third, fourth quarter to come out. That is, hit the publicity machine like crazy. By then, we'll have massive amounts of stamps sold, so it'll be a high publicity IPO. Those are the kinds of things that you want. Everyone's heard about that exchange thing. It's in all the magazines. It's talk among the rank and file. They hear IPO and they're in. While there'll be a lot of winners, you get to be the real winner, intelligent enough to get in at $1 a share. Finally, if you're thinking, I don't know anything about stamps, we say to you, so what? If you were there and could invest when they started the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, would you want to know everything about pork bellies or wheat or soybeans? Well, of course not. It's an investment vehicle, one that appeals to all demographics, from a college kid to wealthy, sophisticated investors, even to royalty. The Queen herself is a massive stamp collector. Investment-grade rare stamps have always been a high-class investment, and the facts are facts. Performance is what matters. The fact remains that Gibbons Index has outperformed all other exchanges. So once again, we know there is massive demand. The only reason why the U.S. market is so flat is that there is no centralized market where you can invest at true market price. So now it's mainly collectors or the very wealthy who know what they're doing who participate when U.S. stamps are available to invest in as easy as a stock. With our massive radio and television ads, our index will go through the roof. We have one of the only fixed supply markets in the world. There's fine art, of course, but we may have an issue where only 50,000 exist. They can print more stock certificates, buy more gold, but they'll never be able to make more of these miniature works of art. The reason these stamp indexes go up so much is that you have an ever-growing demand with a fixed supply. That's supply and demand 101. And we all know our index will increase dramatically for 3 to 5 years, and then it'll hit a regular pace of growth. But in those first 5 years or so, we'll see these pieces hit their real value, true market value, and it's much higher than what they're trading for today. When a market takes off, people take note, they come in and it increases even more. And it just keeps going up, eventually evening off. And remember, we get paid on each and every trade. So do you. So, nice talking to you. We hope you understand this unique opportunity. You have to admit it's one of a kind, a great payout structure, a smaller clone that we can compare ourselves to. This makes your investment very predictable, and we hope you join us. Either way, you'll be reading much about us soon. Thanks for listening.